Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Crane Report with my friend Duane Weiss here by my side, separated by the American flag.
There you go.
We're here to take up where we were last week when we were talking about the 100 great things about living in the U.S.
We were trying to be nice.
Yep.
I thought we were doing a good job.
And we got to number 50. And we got cut off by our masters here who said, that's it, time's up.
Clock said ding, and that was it.
So even though we are loaded with things to talk about, let's finish with our 100 top things about living in the U.S. I don't know about number 50 or not, but I'll repeat number 50. A visit to the Olive Garden for chicken and gnocchi soup and breadsticks. Boy, do I like that chicken and gnocchi soup.
You must.
Man alive. Number 51, a night at the Pawtucket Red Sox.
That's a good time.
Boy, that is a great
If
time.
any of you have not done it, even if you're not a big baseball fan, but just a marginal baseball fan, it's fun. It's a good place to go. And they've changed the game there.
They have?
They put a clock on it finally.
Yep.
If the major leagues would do the same thing,
Speed things up.
they've got so many seconds the time that pitcher gets that ball to throw it.
And it's clean, it's safe, the people are polite. It's a great night out. Number 52, the freedom to produce our show and talk about anything we please.
That's important.
That is important. Freedom of speech is just absolutely irreplaceable.
Yep.
It is, excuse me. It's a fantastic thing, and Duane and I can sit here and we can talk about anything we bloody well please.
We want to look like fools, we can still make ourselves look like fools.
Well, there you are.
We can look like geniuses, too.
That's it. Wow, let's not stretch a point here.
Well, you never know. Once in a while,
Something might slip out.
A blind pig finds an acorn once in a while.
That's right. Number 53, the volunteers in our great country who selflessly give back so much to help those less fortunate or in need.
Yep.
We are a good country. And I think it was de Tocqueville that said, America will be great as long as America remains good.
Yep. There are a lot more volunteers than you think there are.
There, boy, there
because you don't see them a lot of times.
That's
Most
right.
of the time they're in the background
That's
someplace.
exactly right. But our churches, our schools, our hospitals, so many of our charities are run by volunteers. Sure. It's a great thing. Nurses everywhere, especially those past and present who worked at the Rentham State School or similar care facilities all over the country, taking care of and loving those so less fortunate. You know, I happen to be blessed to know a woman who spent her life working over the Rentham State School, Ma Clark. That's all I ever knew her by was Ma. She worked over there. She raised her family, and then she went to work over there.
God love
and
them,
she loved those kids over there like they were her own. And she'd talk about them to us, and what a wonderful lady, I'm telling you.
It's not an easy job.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Good health.
Yep.
Good health is very fortunate to have good health, but also on a much bigger scale, we have health providers that do a darn good job. Oh, I get mad at them too. The bureaucracy of it drives me nuts once in a while. But by and large, I'm taken care of pretty darn well by my healthcare providers, from soup to nuts. Being raised in a great family who loved us and instilled in us that honesty, decency, compassion, charity, and hard work were important stepping stones in life. Family life is an important part of the American experience. And you know, Duane, I wonder what it would have been like not to have grown up in a two-parent home, and to be on your own when you're 9 years old. And so many of the
Just
kids...
watch the news.
Yeah, that's it.
Watch the news.
Some of those poor kids, I swear they don't have a chance. It's sad. And then this drives me nuts. But some Hollywood actress will come on and say, I am woman, I am strong, I don't need a husband.
No.
I can raise kids on my own, and I can do a better job. Who in the hell is she kidding? No. She's got 3 nannies to raise the kids.
Yeah, with all the servants and the...
Yeah. I mean, give me a break. Oh. Number 57, I like this one. As a young man meeting young ladies. Yes, young ladies are one of God's great inventions. And even better yet, marrying one of them.
That's right.
Yeah. It was a great deal those days, you know. It was a lot of fun. John Philip Sousa's rousing marches and Johann Strauss's beautiful waltzes. You know, I've got, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 CDs of Strauss waltzes by different orchestras, symphony orchestras. I listen to the same songs over and over.
Of course you do. That's it.
Great stuff. And I'll give you folks a tip. You think of the Blue Danube Waltz and Tales from Vienna Woods. Listen to Roses from the South. I think that's his most beautiful waltz. We are a nation of laws, and this is a wonderful framework until it is trodden asunder by cynical, corrupt, dishonest politicians and officials.
Well, they use the laws to their own ends.
To hide behind.
Sure.
Yeah. The way we're laid out is fine. We just seem to lack the will to take these bums and throw them out of office.
That's right.
Or prosecute them. I mean, well,
we don't have a real appetite for prosecution.
We could talk about that for the whole hour. Number 60, my wife and my sons. My proudest accomplishments, my most wonderful moments have been with them. This is a direct result of being able to freely associate and to freely choose your marriage partner and not being bound by some other hideous arrangements, such as families arranging marriages, selling their daughters as young as age 8 or 10 into marriages based on tribal customs and barter in countries such as Saudi Arabia, where women are commodities. You know, I had a friend that worked at the Foxborough Company, and I said, we're having coffee, shooting the breeze one day. I said, well, tell me something. Where did you meet your wife? Oh, he said, I met my wife on our wedding night. I said, really? But you went to college here in America? He said, yes. And he says, I lived with an American girl for 2 or 3 years. Well, I said, really? I said, and then? Well, he said, one night, he says, I'll never forget it. He said, I got a call from India from my father.
Yep, exactly.
And he said, 2 weeks from tonight, or 3 weeks from tonight, or he gave an arbitrary date. He says, you'll go to Chicago. It'll be a Friday night, and you'll get married. That was it. So I said,
a lot of the world is like that.
I said to him, what did you think about that? He said, I had no choice. I said, what? He said, I had no choice. I must obey my father. He said, otherwise, I can never return to my village in India.
Yep.
He said, I am banned for disobeying my father.
My son's in-laws came from China. They escaped China during the Cultural Revolution with Mao. And they went to Tibet. I'm sorry, Burma.
Burma. Myanmar.
Yeah, Myanmar now. And that's where they literally grew up. But their marriage was arranged.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't right. They knew each other
Yeah.
for, 6, 8 months. But they were told, well, this is who you're going to marry, and this is you're going to marry him, and you're going to marry her. They didn't think anything that everybody that did it did.
I said to this guy, I won't name him because I don't know whether he lives. He's a young guy, still probably alive. I said to him, tell me something if I'm not being too personal. I said, do you love your wife? He says, what is love? He says, I don't know. I suppose. She's the mother of my children. So we have 3 children. And she's a very good cook.
Mm-hmm.
She keeps a very clean house. We like each other and respect each other. And he says, that's most important.
That might be a hell of a lot better than some people's marriages today.
It may well be,
50-some% of marriages end up in divorce.
Yeah, yeah. So I said, she's a good cook?
Mm-hmm.
He said, oh, yes. He said, Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, that's vegetarian. Oh, yes, he said, no more going to McDonald's for me. But he said, I must admit that when I go on errands, I swing by McDonald's and have a couple of Big Macs.
Oh, yeah.
But he said, no. He said, no meat in the house at all. I said, boy. Well, and of course, he's a member of a caste.
Yep.
And she had to be of the proper caste.
Oh, yeah.
And the bride's family paid the money to his father, not to this guy, but to his father.
Yep.
And he banked the money and said, now go to Chicago and marry this girl. So
some of those dowries are extensive, too.
yes,
Very
they are.
big.
They're getting to be big bucks.
Yep.
I don't know. That's they can have it over there. We'll get into that another night. Old country and western singers, Hank Williams and Ernest Tubbs. Boy, I'll tell you, there's a couple of my great favorites. Ernest Tubb and the Texas Troubadours and the original Hank Williams.
That's what country western was, country western.
That's right.
Today you don't know. It's hanging this way, it's hanging this way.
God,
what is it?
What is it is right, yeah. I don't listen to it. Fox News commentators Neil Cavuto, Brit Hume, Stuart Varney, and Lou Hobbs.
Yep.
Boy, I'll tell you, if you just listen to those 4 guys, you're not going to go too far wrong.
No.
Stuart Varney was absolutely out of his tree this morning.
I'll bet.
He was flying. Number 63, donuts.
Oh, my God.
That is...
I love donuts.
Yeah, I do, too. Boy, oh, boy. Plain donuts. I cut them in half and put peanut butter on them.
Oh, okay. Each to his own there, Bill. Well, actually, I'm not. I like jelly-filled donuts.
Jelly-filled donuts,
It's
yeah.
the same thing, I guess.
Yeah. Lee jeans. I've been wearing Lee jeans since I was, 20-something.
That's where we part company here.
Yeah, you're a Wrangler?
Wrangler or the LL Bead series. I like.
Oh,
the
LL
relaxed,
Beads, okay.
Relaxed cut that they have.
Yeah.
And the Wrangler relaxed cut
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I wear relaxed cut, too. You got to have a little room in there.
Yeah.
Going to Bass Pro Shops.
Oh, that's an adventure.
Boy, I'll tell you, I never get tired of that.
We take our grandkids up there and
Yeah.
that
And I can walk around for 2 hours in there.
they got that laser shooting gallery thing.
Yep.
Well, they can't hit anything.
Right.
So their father and I, they'll say, shoot at the bird over there. So one of them will go up there and we pulled the trigger on ours. Whoa, I got it. Yeah, you did. There's the element caught on that they're not shooting it.
They'll catch on.
Oh, yeah.
Buick automobiles. Of the American-made cars, Buick's my favorite.
Buick's been all
Good car.
stable. But you know, Buick almost went out, just like Pontiac did.
Yeah, there was between them and Oldsmobile. Which one was going to stick
And if it
around?
hadn't been for the Chinese
Yes.
market,
Yeah.
this is the most popular car in China.
That's right.
Everybody wants a Buick in
And
China.
I'll be willing to bet you that 95% of the people don't realize that Buicks are sold.
Yeah, or
But they are considered a luxury
luxury
American
car.
car.
And status
and
car there, too.
quality.
Yep.
Yeah. Going to Montreal to see the Bruins play the Canadiens. Boy, there's nothing like a cold night in the middle of winter up in Canada at the Montreal Forum, and those fans have that building rocking.
I've never been to a hockey game in Montreal. I've been to a baseball game, but
Yep.
never a hockey game.
It's an experience. Great stuff. And then you go to Toronto or Calgary, and the fans sit on their hands. You could hear a pin drop in there in the middle of a hockey game. And they say, well, you know, we're connoisseurs of hockey.
Yeah,
we
right.
invented it, and we don't just go to a game to yell and scream. But it's an experience. The beauty, the wondrous experience of being in the big woods of northern Maine. Boy, I'll tell you, you're 25 miles from the closest human being sometimes when you're up there.
People don't realize how sparsely populated northern Maine
Really
is.
and truly is.
Take a map sometimes, folks. Lay it out. Look at the roads, the highway and the road structure. Now start looking in north and northwestern Maine and see how many areas, how big areas, there are no roads.
Dirt roads,
Yeah, maybe
logging trails. Yeah.
Some of them you could use, most of them you could use, but be prepared if you're going down a road and it's 1 lane wide and you meet a logging truck, he's not going to back up.
No, and he's not even going to stop.
Yeah, he's going to, you better be going.
get out of the way.
Yeah.
And if you end up in a ditch, boy, figure your way out, because he's not going to stop and help you. The honesty and wisdom of Barry Goldwater. You know, Barry Goldwater was one of my first political heroes back in the 50s. The Conscience of a Conservative. I read that book and, well, I was hooked. Well, I love Barry Goldwater. When he was on something like Meet the Press or something like that,
he was brilliant.
he was great. No bull with that boy.
Nope.
He told it like it was. New Balance athletic shoes. They're expensive.
I wear them all the time.
Yep. They're expensive, but they are the best.
I ended up with plantar fasciitis a few years ago.
Yep.
And I went to a podiatrist. I didn't know what it was. Oh, man, that hurt. And he said, well, you got plantar fasciitis. And he explained what it was. And he says, I had a almost brand new pair of Asics sneakers. He says, let me see your sneaker. He picked it up and he bent it right around. The nose met the tail. He said, throw these damn things away. He says, I've got sneakers here for a couple $100, but if you don't want to spend that much, buy yourself a good pair of New Balance.
Yep.
And I've worn New Balance ever since.
I use the 99, well, the 991 is morphed into the 993 now.
Yeah.
I've been wearing them for 25, 30 years.
Yeah, I've been the 608s, the
Yep.
604, 608. They're an all-purpose walking,
Yep.
heavy.
And heavy-duty construction, you can't bend those suckers.
No, you ain't going any place with those.
And they're made in the USA.
Yep, most of them are.
Yep.
And of course, we got that defense thing now.
Yeah.
And they're just so reluctant to buy New Balance, and they
know.
want to buy these foreign off all the
Yep.
time. And by law, they gotta if New
buy
Balance they gotta buy them. I don't know what the fuss is about.
Ah,
Well, I do.
politics.
Somebody's
Yeah. Well, you see, the ones from offshore are imported through my district, and they provide work at there's big warehouses, and they're reluctant to change, but they're going to be forced to change. When it says U.S. manufacture,
Yep.
they've got to. Chocolate ice cream. That is good stuff. I'm a big chocolate ice cream fan.
I like chocolate. That's
Yep.
one of my top 5, I guess.
We are on the brink of energy independence with only the greens and other nutbags in the way, stopping us from
That's right.
being totally energy independent. You know, it used to be that was a big liberal position. we shouldn't be sending money to Saudi Arabia. We should be energy independent.
Yeah, completely independent.
Yeah. So now it's within our grasp very, very easily. And now it's, but that's fossil fuels. We don't like fossil fuels. We want the sun and we want wind. And if it's 17 times more expensive than generating electricity with natural gas, so be it. Or even more than that, by nuclear power. Well, we don't want nuclear power. Why not? Well, it's icky. It's scary.
It's scary. It's got a stigma.
Yeah. We're afraid we're going to start glowing in the dark.
Well, it's part, the group that didn't like the nuclear power equated that back to a nuclear bomb and war. That's what it was.
Yeah. And listen, as far as the waste is concerned, we have passed laws to put it out there in Utah, and it's been stopped by, what's his face, the Democratic group leader in the Senate, Harry Reid. Yeah. He stonewalled it.
Yeah,
own the property, but he refuses to allow it to come in, and he's stopped it. And of course,
if they ever harness and develop fusion, this will all be gone.
All be a moot point.
Yeah. Well, so will the oil companies.
Yep. Our having access to good shoes may seem like a rather nebulous point, but I'll tell you what, you should wear good shoes and take good care of your feet. And thankfully, we've got wonderful shoes on the market.
Ladies, pay attention to that.
Right.
You got some of the most ungodly things.
Well, that's horrible. Our real estate markets work well, and affordable housing is available most places. Again, it's the free enterprise system. 75, visiting Bill's Barbershop in Foxborough Center, where Dave Gaffey is Duane's and my personal hairstylist.
I was just in there a couple days ago.
And how was David?
Busy. I told him that he's going to get mentioned.
There you go. He undoubtedly glowed all over.
Oh, yeah.
It's
not just a barber shop. It's a communication center.
Yeah, it is.
You find out what's going on in Foxborough and other places.
Dave's a good guy.
Yep.
Before him, his dad, Bill.
I used to
cut my hair too.
Me too. But be prepared. He's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
$5 for senior citizens.
Yeah, and kids.
Oh, boy. 76, living in Massachusetts, where the politicians are the best that money can buy.
That's the best statement of this whole group right here.
Yeah.
The best that money can buy.
Boy, I'll tell you. We have got the cream of the crop.
Oh, boy.
Of the guys with their hands out.
Yeah. Only a few got them slapped.
Yeah.
Well, a few they get slapped, nothing happens.
That's exactly right. Or if they offend the hierarchy in the party, then
out of
they
favor,
bag them.
Yep. Yeah, Sal, he's still behind bars.
Oh, yeah.
We had Wilkerson. She went up the river for a while.
Sal DeMacy being behind bars with an incurable form of cancer, I think we've probably ruined his life enough. But they're still keeping him way the hell down south and
someplace down there.
However, and they won't allow him to be transferred up here or even paroled. Look, I think he's paid the price.
Right.
It seems that we're a little vindictive there.
Well, he's making up for the three before him that didn't get anything.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. 77, going to Boston and visiting the Museum of Fine Arts, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, the Science Museum, the New England Aquarium, and walking the Freedom Trail. Yep. Boy, those are all neat things.
Oh, they are.
Boy, I'll tell you, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum is a very eclectic collection of stuff that she bought that she liked.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's a great take, I'll tell you. And word to the wise: when you get hungry, skip the Union Oyster House.
Oh, that's
Maybe
become a tourist trap.
Yep, it's
Total tourist trap.
maybe the oldest still operating restaurant in the U.S. or wherever, but it slipped badly lately. Last time I was in there, Patrick and I ate there, and
Just an aside on the museums. If you plan on going, check out the library.
there are passes.
There are passes
and
available.
discount coupons
That's right.
at the library. Yeah,
And
The-
surprisingly, they're available.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
many people use them.
yeah. And you know, if you find that ours aren't around or they're out, we're all part of the sales
Yeah.
system, and you can borrow the passes from other towns.
Yep.
I know the last time we went someplace, we had to go to Foxborough to get the
Yeah,
passes.
that's right. We got them one time from Foxborough, too.
The no-name restaurant on the waterfront in Boston is still a good take.
I haven't been there in 30 years.
Cash, bring cash.
Yeah.
Don't take credit cards. Visiting New Orleans and pigging out on Cajun cooking has got to be one of the greatest treats in life.
Yep. I like the music, too, there.
Oh, yeah, that's great stuff.
They have a great zoo. It's the Audubon Zoo.
Really? Okay, now I never went to
It's
that.
excellent.
And they got a big gambling place there, too, Harrah's.
Yep.
It's
But, the zoo, if you stay downtown, they stay like
French Quarter.
in the French Quarter, get the atmosphere. You can get a paddle wheel boat that takes you all the way down to the zoo, and then you bring back. That's an experience. It's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
I always stayed in the French Quarter at the Monteleone. And that started because my distributor knew the assistant manager there. And when people were paying $200 a night, I was getting the rooms for $70 a night. And the Monteleone is a beautiful old
yeah.
hotel.
Quaint.
Yeah, really neat. Visiting the Midwest and being impressed by people's honesty and practicality. You know, each part of the country is different to a degree. But the Midwesterners are straight shooters. I found them.
Oh yeah. So are some of the Southerners.
So, what, please?
Southerners.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We went into a supermarket in Texas one day to visit my brother and some other friends. Walked in and the girl at the counter says, "How y'all day?" What the hell is she talking to? She don't know. Oh, she was talking to me. I figured she knew somebody, but
Yeah.
no, she was just being
Friendly.
friendly.
Yeah. No, that's it. I'll tell you, I've always enjoyed all parts of the country, except California and the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
I can't figure those people out.
Well, that was also the store where I was checking out, and the girl says, "Where y'all from?" You sure got an accent. I said, "Honey, I don't think it's me."
Yeah, I bumped into a couple of areas in the South where the accent is so thick.
Thick, you
cannot
almost need an
understand it.
interpreter.
Yeah.
Yep.
One day I asked a guy for a bottle of soda, and I said, "How much?" And he goes, "Blah, blah, blah." I said, "How much?" "Blah, blah, blah." I said, "I'll tell
knew
you
what
what."
soda was.
I said, "Just take
what
the
you
money,
want.
you know." Gettysburg National Battlefield is a great
That's a moving experience.
Yeah, if you haven't done that, folks,
Do it. Put it on
Do it.
Put it on your bucket list for
yeah,
sure.
it is an experience to go there and to walk the grounds and be standing where hundreds, thousands of people died in our
You know what else?
Civil War.
A good thing to do is, we all know something about Gettysburg.
Right.
Get a Gettysburg book. It doesn't have to be real extensive, but just read about the Gettysburg experience before you get there.
Yeah, I bought a book at Gettysburg. It was like 48 pages. It was like a magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. But
That's all you need.
it enriches the experience so
It does.
much.
It does. You don't need to get down to, well, this division, the Corps, the
Yeah.
12th Corps, I made a left turn here over by
Yeah,
the
you don't
old
want the
pine
tactics.
tree. That's way too much information. But to get the idea of what was going on and see some of the maps, that's great.
where we were there when my son was about 4 or 5.
Oh,
We spent all day there. And we had one of those in those days. I don't know if they spread. They had little cassettes that you could
Yeah,
run in your car.
absolutely.
And it would take you to go to point, and even in your car.
We had a little cassette player.
Yeah.
And just plugged it in and just walked around with
And
it.
he didn't say much all day long. I'd say, well, this is the battle here. This is what happened here. We're walking out, and he says, Dad, I said, what? When you were in the Army, were you on the side that wanted the slaves or didn't want the slaves? Oh, boy.
Out of the mouths of babes come gems, yeah. Seeing the Mississippi River, how big it is, how massive it is, majestic. And how, think about how important that was to the development of our country.
Oh, absolutely. It was the waterway for the
That's it,
north
for
to south.
commerce,
Yeah.
north-south, in the middle of the country.
Well, they recognized that in the Civil War. How they barricaded that thing.
Yeah.
Up where I live, though, it's not as impressive.
No, it's a tad smaller.
Tad smaller. In fact, in northern Minnesota, you can step across it.
That's right. That's where it all began. Eating down south at a chain of restaurants called Sonny's Original Pit Barbecue. I got to tell you something. I have eaten at Sonny's Original Pit Barbecue for all 6 nights of my trips into the South.
That's easy to do.
Every night.
Yep.
Man, do I love their stuff. That's great stuff. The only place you can find it is south of Virginia, down to Florida, and over into Georgia, and I think they got a couple of stores in Alabama. And that's it. They don't go any further west.
Yep.
They don't come north because they say it wouldn't be economically feasible to come north. We know that the people down south like our cooking, and that's it.
Yeah, they don't have any desire to do that.
Yeah. You cannot go to Texas and not have a good time. Great people, great food.
That's right.
Always enjoyed my time in Texas. Always. The Smithsonian in Washington is a fabulous experience. Figure on 3 days minimum. It's huge, and you got multiple buildings, and holy cow.
You could spend a week and not even scratch the surface.
It's great stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. In Maine, on Route 201 North, about 18 miles shy of Canada, there's a little town called Jackman. Well, just before Jackman, it's between the Forks and Jackman, is a scenic overlook, and it's on your right, and it's a bluff, and it looks down on a Teehan Pond. And I get to tell you something, that is one of the great scenes I've ever seen in my life. That's worth the 8 or 9 hour drive up there. Just take a look at that. 87, I really enjoy hot dogs, baked beans, and brown bread. A great New England meal.
Yep.
I love it. Hawks and owls, I love them.
Oh,
They
I do too.
are great animals. The Boston and Providence area has the best concentration of pizza joints in the country. You don't believe me? Try Omaha, Nebraska, or Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Boise, Idaho, or Seattle, Washington. Boy, I'll tell you, they don't know the first things about making pizza out that way. Or fish and chips, either.
We did live at a place that had good pizza. They were big Italian areas.
Oh, okay.
And they were big Greek areas, too, to make some decent pizza.
Yeah. But they're few and far between, I'll tell you, when you get out into the middle of the country. And I was appalled at the fish and chips in Nebraska someplace.
Oh, what do
What
you
was the
expect?
fish? Yeah, the cop
Yeah.
or buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Mrs. whatever the name of the frozen fish sticks.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yuckarookie. Ah. Things we take for granted that don't happen worldwide. Great mattresses, central heat, and air conditioning.
Yeah,
We take it for granted.
of course.
91, our food supply is clean and constantly inspected. 92, there's 8 gazillion brands of beer. 93, and I got this one starred. No matter how much copping and complaining we hear by the usual suspects, minorities are treated better here than any other country in the world.
That's right.
You've got to be kidding me. Granted, all right, there's some inequities. Maybe
Real and perceived.
Yes. But boy, I'll tell you, try some of the other countries if you want to see how minorities are treated. If you're in northern Alabama, you've got to go to the Coondog Cemetery.
What? It's the Coondog Cemetery.
In Cherokee. It's a little town. I don't know, there may be 200 people in it. It's in Colbert County, Alabama.
Do they really have a Coondog Cemetery?
Yes.
Okay.
I was driving sometimes when I was going from sales call to sales call, or when I was ending up, say middle of the afternoon, I said, well, that's it. Now I got to push on to where I want to start tomorrow morning, rather than the interstates. A lot of times I'd use the back roads, 2-lane, 4-lane state roads. Well, I was driving down one and I saw a sign that said Coondog Cemetery, 6 miles.
Gotta check it out.
Well, I got by it and I said to myself, Wilbur, stop the car, turn around and go back. If this is real, you're never going to see anything like this. Well, I did. It's about 275 cemeteries. Old Bullet, and Old Gray.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These were like family members to them.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's nice.
Yep.
That's a site that it's the only one in the country. Blueberry pie. That's my favorite pie.
That's one of my favorite too.
Disney World.
Oh,
magic
place.
I have said time and time again, there are 2 organizations that are as close to perfection as man can make them.
Yep.
Disney World is one, and the other one's the U.S. Army.
Yep.
We complained when we were in the Army, but you know what? They had an answer for every single thing that would
The damn thing worked. That always amazed me.
That's right. Yeah, unbelievable.
But Disney is right.
Yeah.
I think one of the times we were there, we used to go quite a bit. Now, my son is in his 40s. We don't go
he
so
can
often.
go on his own now.
Yeah, and we were in there one night, and we were coming back from the fireworks that they had every night. We stayed on the grounds, and sitting on the bus coming back, and a lady from New Jersey, she summed it up right. She said something about we come down here quite often. She says, well, we come down here every year. She says, we come down here to get human again.
Yeah.
She says, living in New Jersey where it's all dog eat dog and a rat race and everybody yelling and screaming. She said, we take a week and we go to Disney and we just kind of let it get happy again.
Be a kid again.
Yep.
Yeah.
They didn't have any kids. They were just doing it as
just doing it
adults.
on their own. That's great.
I thought that was a great idea.
I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Down there was a woman lost her kid, and she started screaming, and security just came out of the woodwork. Plain clothes.
Oh, they're all over the place. You don't know that they're there.
They grabbed her and said, come with us.
Yep.
And they ran to this bank, underground, a bank of televisions. And they looked at monitors, showing the gates. And lo and behold, there she is.
Oh, yeah.
Bang, they had the guy that grabbed the kid. Unbelievable. Flood control, snow removal, and paved roads. Boy, there's something that a lot of the parts of the world don't have.
Yep.
We take it for granted. Canadian brown bread with peanut butter and butter. Now, there's something you can have that your arteries will harden right up on. Boy, just as long as you eat them.
Peanut butter's good for you.
Good for you. The
And butter's back. Did you read that article?
Oh, yes. We find things.
You can have butter again.
It's natural.
Yeah.
We're finding that the artificial stuff is no good for us now. The experience of being in the U.S. Army and growing up.
You can put those two together. The Army is, or most of the military is a maturing process.
Yep. And number 100, for an elegant dining experience, good food, and a very friendly wait staff, I prefer Hooters.
I thought you were going to comment on that one.
It's a great place.
I think so too.
Good food.
I love the owls in their shirts.
Right. That's why I like owls. I told you
That's
that.
right.
Well, all right. So that's good. We had a couple of laughs, nice subjects. Now let's turn to some of the horror that we have.
We can't escape it.
No, we can't. Where do I start? I don't know.
I don't know.
Tell me something. If I'm subpoenaed and ordered to hand over all my emails, and I pick some and hand them over and delete all the rest, what would happen to me?
You would be, right now, probably Leavenworth.
It's about
Never
what
to see the light of day again.
That's about what I thought. Oh, and then here is a public service announcement and two light things, and then we'll get into the murk. August 1st is Lammas Day, Lammas. And it used to be a time for foretelling marriages and trying out partners. Two young people would agree to a trial marriage lasting the period of the Lammas Fair, which was 11 days, to see if they were really suited for wedlock. At the end of the fair, if they didn't get it on, the couple would part.
Where is this?
England.
England.
Yeah.
But
Now, we've modified that in this
there's
country
no different here.
with 365 days a year.
young people, they all move in together.
That's all. That's it. But obviously, they expanded on Lammas Day, and it's working, I guess, for somebody. I had my Donald Trump for President ball cap on the other day.
Will you get any comments?
The only ones I ever get are "Love your hat." Yay! All right. And a nurse down in Norwood Hospital, when I was down having my blood tested on Monday, says, "I love your hat. I wish I dared to wear one." What have we become when people say, "I wouldn't dare wear that"?
Well, you know what that's a result of?
PC.
Political correctness. Exactly right. Political correctness is nothing more than an effort to subdue somebody else's thought that you don't agree with.
That's right.
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly right. Exactly. Yeah, no question about it. I don't applaud that.
Oh,
One
you can't. That goes against our total principles. But they package it into this PC name, PC thing, and try to make it something respectable.
Last night, the convention, Republican convention, started. It was like an armed camp surrounding the theater there, or the stadium where they held it. There was no incidents.
The Globe make a big. They were surprised. They were shocked.
Disappointed.
That's
probably.
the better word.
Yeah.
Disappointed. Yep. Because I'm sure they had the headlines already set tight,
sure.
or everything all typed up, ready to
Mad
go.
men with guns.
Oh yeah. And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
They were disappointed.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. So they kicked it off with Melania Trump, who I thought did a fine job. Rudy Giuliani, who I thought was great.
I always like listening to him.
Man, he was great. And then Donald Trump, the law and order candidate.
Yep.
Now, let me ask you something. The Globe is sort of poo-pooing this law and order candidate, even the Herald, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a winning stance.
I do too, particularly now. Oh my God, you know.
And Hillary last night at the NAACP vowed that anyone attacking, shooting, or anything to a police officer under her presidency, they would be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I wonder if that got any applause, or I wonder what the reaction to that was.
With that group, not much. Maybe courtesy applause. Not.
She must have. She must realize that this law and order stuff that Donald Trump is championing is a winning strategy.
Oh, absolutely. I don't.
And she had to jump on board. She couldn't resist jumping on board. By the way, and here we go in the sour grapes bozo department. Two of them. John Kasich.
Yeah, okay.
Now, that's his home state.
That's
He's
right.
the governor, and he didn't have the decency to at least show up and welcome everybody.
Yeah, that's right. I
He
mean,
doesn't have to hang from the rafters screaming, "I'm for Bush," and Trump, waving banners.
he's welcome to Ohio.
He could have acted like a gentleman.
Yeah. Oh,
And Charlie Baker, I'm holding my nose and walking away. Well, I'm going to tell you something. He's walked away from my vote.
Yeah, he
is really becoming something I don't like at all. And if Donald Trump were to win, how much good do you suppose will be done for the state of Massachusetts? First of all, it's a Democratic state. And second of all, he sold down the river by Charlie Baker. We'd be lucky if our Social Security checks arrive. Well, to lead into this next subject here, Newt Gingrich, in talking about the terrorists, called them medieval barbarians. Do you have a better word for them?
No.
No.
But you got a PhD. I don't have a PhD though. So he knows a lot of words that I don't know.
Yeah. Newt is sort of an interesting guy, but medieval barbarians, I think, really fits. Last night in Germany, we had an Afghan, young Afghan teenager, I don't know how the hell old he was, 15 or 16 or something, got on a train with an axe and a knife and slashed passengers, injuring 4 people before he was shot and killed by police as he fled. They were still investigating the motive of the attack and were looking into reports that the suspect had yelled an exclamation during the rampage and was reported to be Allahu Akbar.
God is great.
Yep.
Allah is great.
This is becoming nothing special anymore. This is becoming business as usual.
It's like they were said, the French incident with the truck. Well, he couldn't have been radicalized because he was doing this and this. They think it takes a year or 2 years or something to be radicalized. Some of these characters,
2 weeks.
Yeah, just start listening to somebody and they believe it.
That is what they, piecing this thing together, his life, he was radicalized in a 2-week period. Well, radicalized, what's that mean? I mean, you start dating a girl that is a radical and she says, you know what, big boy, we can make beautiful music together, but you got to come over to my side and become radicalized along with me. And he says, lead me on, sweetheart.
Yep.
So teenagers and young people, of course that guy wasn't, he was 31, but they're pretty easy to work with. There was an article written by Trudy Rubin, who's a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer. I'm not going to read it all or even a portion of it, but I am going to be just the first paragraph. On a trip to the beach, a German friend recently saw 2 teenage Afghan refugee boys stare in shock at female bathers in scanty bikinis. That's no big deal. I do that too.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe not shock, but the stare part.
I stare. She overheard one youth agitatedly ask the German volunteer accompanying him, "Where are their fathers? Where are their fathers?"
We should stone them.
This is the, in a nutshell, and I tend to simplify things because I'm not terribly bright, but here you've got this massive influx of Muslims.
Yep.
They invade a country like France or come to this country and they see how free we are, how free. Women are as equals or better. And they say, whoa, wait a minute. This is awful. And they say, no, this can't go on. And they start shooting and killing and terrorizing to try to stop us from the way we're living.
This is a group that a lot of groups don't, but this group particularly does not want to or will not assimilate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They want what they want. They want how it was when they left.
Yeah.
And they want to bring that here.
Don't want our courts either. They want Sharia law.
Sharia law.
Yep. And that is, when someone's grabbed for shoplifting or something, off with the hand. Fear toward Islam is increasing in Germany. 57% of the non-Muslim population thinks Islam is dangerous or very dangerous. In May, a poll showed 60% think Islam does not belong to Germany. I think it probably should mean to think Islam doesn't belong in Germany. Those polls didn't distinguish between Islamist ideology and the Muslim religion. So last New Year's Eve in Cologne, hundreds of Arabs, youths, went on a rape.
Yep. Literal rape.
Yeah, yes. A rampage. This is a real culture clash.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't have very good feelings about the path that Europe is going down.
Nope, that's, look at Britain. They dumped out of the EU.
Yeah.
One of the big reasons is fear of these hundreds of thousands of Islamic immigrants showing up.
Yeah, they've got enough problems with their former colonies coming without throwing up more and more, bringing in more and more people through EU. The British made a very courageous decision.
Yeah, they did.
And we would
Absolutely.
be well advised to note exactly what the Brits are doing. And this is what Donald Trump is talking about.
And it didn't turn out to be the end of the world either for us.
No.
Everybody, oh my God, our markets are going to go to hell. The stock market was going to crash. Hell, it hit record level again.
You know, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. What we're talking about here is not the end of the world.
No.
What we're talking about is, look, we've got illegals in the country. We have got to seal our borders and then decide what we're going to do about we're not going to send 11 million people back.
No.
I mean, that whole idea, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
not
it's ridiculous.
possible.
But we don't have to make them citizens.
Nope.
We can give them a semi-permanent work pass and keep them in this country and put them into Social Security, into Medicare, Medicaid, and treat them well, as long as they treat our country
that's
well.
Right.
Obey our laws.
Just remember where you are.
And then when you assimilate, perhaps your children can be citizens. I would not, I would be very careful with that one and not automatically just rubber stamp it and say if you're born in this country, you have to be a citizen of this country.
You know what else?
Because if your folks came illegally, I think that takes that off the table. But how radical is this? This isn't radical at all. It's dealing with the problem.
Britain, leaving the EU, drove the pound down to record low, which in your case is good, because now when you buy that Bentley or that Rolls Royce, it won't cost you so much.
Oh, I tell you, you know I would never do that.
I told my wife last night it was a Jaguar ad. Beautiful car.
Oh, yeah.
She says, buy me one of them. It's the best buy you're going to find ever. Yes, you're right.
She's going to have to
Yeah.
the right set of numbers
You're not
before that
kidding.
happens. But, you know, we've got to really get real about this. But what Donald Trump is, his position's moderating, as it has to.
Has to, absolutely. He couldn't continue with that same
No.
posture that he came out of the box with.
But you know, it's getting to the point where my kids, my wife, they've all asked me the same question. Is he electable? Is it possible he could win? And I'm at the point now where I say, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an element that nobody talks about, and that's, used to call it the silent majority.
Jerry Falwell.
Is it? Yep. We hear all the talking heads. We hear all the people that write the letters to the editor, particularly Global only publish what they want to publish. We hear only the people on the radio, the media, the celebrities. That's not the whole country.
That's right.
There's a whole bunch of guys that don't say a damn thing.
That are ticked off.
Yeah, the guy driving a pickup here, and he's a plumber or a carpenter or something. He don't make any noise. He just.
You know, when we come back, we've got to deal next week.
Yep.
We got to deal with all these shootings in the U.S.
Yep.
But also, I want to talk about here's a girl that was a sex slave that the Iraqis were holding, the Muslims were holding. And she's now blind, she's disfigured,
Yep.
but she escaped them. And she tells about the things that were done to her and to other girls. Then in Pakistan, we have
The honor killing.
Kandil
Yep.
Baylock. Now, she's really quite a threatening looking young lady, isn't she, huh? I mean, she really looks like a bad actor, doesn't she, folks, huh? But yet, she's speaking out and doing things and going out dancing and fun and being recorded in on songs, you know, and stuff like that.
Her brother found it necessary to strangle her for family honor.
Yeah, and if the pictures on the internet are for real, he also disfigured her face too. Nice guy. We need to talk about this because we need to understand the face of the enemy. And for the life of me, I cannot understand what the Democrats are doing here. Does anyone speak out about these things?
No.
No.
It comes from the top.
Yeah.
Their leader, our leader, will not say Islamic terrorist.
That's it. But these things are horrible. And I've got quite a few other news stories about related things. You know, that if a young lady acts up, allegedly, in Iraq or Saudi Arabia or those places, it's up to a brother or the father to kill her.
Yep.
That's really quite a little country over there. Folks, we've just been given the word that we have overstayed our time. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and stay tuned because we're going to have a dandy show for you next time.
Yep.
Good night.
Enjoy the summer.